Well, with me is our reporter, Rich Preston. Rich, listening to that, it's clear there's a lot of division right now within the United Kingdom.
Division and concern about more confusion as well. This message from Boris Johnson on Sunday night was broadcast across the UK, but really it was just a message for England. As we heard in Ian's report there, the message in Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland is still very much stay at home. And I think there's a frustration amongst the national leaders in those three parts of the UK that having a different message in different parts of the country could cause some confusion, could cause some problems. Of course, the science doesn't stop at the border. We've seen senior police officers and frontline police officers saying this is becoming unenforceable when there are so many mixed message. Even just the phrase stay alert hasn't really been clarified.
So more questions than answers right now, but we are promised more information and detail today, aren't we?
Yes, we've been told there's going to be a document published today, some 50 pages, which will give more clarity on the Prime Minister's position and what the government is recommending for England. I think there's a particular hope that there will be clearer messages for employers amongst that. For many people, it will have been a shock to hear on Sunday night, you can go back to work tomorrow. We encourage you to go back to work tomorrow, without really necessarily giving guidelines or clear advice on how that should be done safely and appropriately given the current situation.
And also, when it comes to schools reopening, a bit more information about that if the science heads in the right direction. But that's a huge hindrance to those who are supposedly going back to work if their children are still at home.
Absolutely. Lots of ifs and buts. People being encouraged to go back to work, but your kids can't go to school yet, but you should avoid public transport. And as you said, it all depends on the science. Boris Johnson saying we'll have to put the brakes on if the rates of infection start to climb again.
And looking around the world, what is the increased risk when measures start to be eased in countries? They have seen a resurgence initially in some cases.
Yes, this is a legitimate concern, especially when you bear in mind, as you said earlier, the UK's got the second highest death toll in the world. This is not a decision to be taken lightly. Germany and South Korea are two countries that have been widely praised for their efforts. They started to ease lockdown measures last week and they saw their infection rates start to climb again. So it is something the UK government are going to have to watch closely.
And the Prime Minister, to be fair, was very clear on that, wasn't he? He was sort of accentuating the risk of coming down the mountain, the danger, as it were, and that they'll watch the numbers very closely, this so-called R rate very closely. Yes,
that's right. And he said we will put the brakes back on if this R rate starts to tick above 1, which means the rate of infection is more than one person. So yes, very clear message. And of course, this from a Prime Minister who himself spent 3 days, 3 nights in intensive care with the virus.
Yes, he knows the risks only too well. Thank you, Rich, for now. Rich Preston.